I'm an American who objectively doesn't know ball, but that does not stop me from having opinions. I am here to recap the big six things that I learned or wanted to talk about after game week 27. Let's get into it. So, my first thing that I wanted to talk about was Arsenal looked like champions on Monday when they put Sheffield United to the sword. I know Sheffield United have been very poor and Arsenal are in a great run of form, but it's important to remember that even last season, at the end of the season when things started to fall off the rails for Arsenal, they went to Southampton, I believe. I think they went to Southampton and they couldn't get a win. They dropped points. This time they went to the bottom place team and they won. They crushed. They created chance after chance. Everyone just looked so good. I'm not saying Arsenal will win the league. I think that anyone definitively saying that uh, Man City, Arsenal, or Liverpool will win the league definitively is they must have a crystal ball because it's too close to call. But of the three teams in the title race right now, Arsenal looked the most like champions, and that is a huge change from last season. Um, on to the next talking point. I wanted to bring up Pochettino because the Chelsea away fans were booing and just generally being very they are kind of, I think, at the end of their tether, and away fans typically are a pretty good gauge. I mean, they're away fans. They follow their team all over the country, and if they're kind of over it, the rest of the fan base is going to follow very soon. I know there have been people from the beginning saying that, Pochettino's not right for Chelsea and all of this, and I don't know that he is or he isn't, but I think that Chelsea fans need to keep in mind that what they're doing is a project, like an actual project, not half a season. It'll probably take a season or two to play out because a lot of the players they signed are just so young. They're still probably maybe not, but kind of in that wonder kid phase where you just don't know if it's all potential or if it's going to lead to anything. And I just don't think that Chelsea fans, after Abramovich, I don't know that they have the patience for that. So I think Pochettino may get fired at the end of the season. I think that if they finish bottom half, he's probably going to be out. Todd Bowley and the Clear Lake Group, they've already shown that they will fire a manager. They fired Tuchel, fired Potter pretty quickly, and they have to have some sort of expectations. I've just said it's a project, but they must have some expectations, like top eight, top half at least. If they don't get that, who knows? The next thing I wanted to talk about was Manchester United. The first like half of the Manchester Derby, that was the most fight I've seen from this United team all season, like rolled up into one half. So I know they have the fight for it, but they haven't shown it every week. I'm not going to talk about Bruno Fernandes just because I feel about him the way I think most people do, but their mentality, it's not that they don't have the skill to get top four. I don't think they will. I won't count them out quite yet just because there's still like what 30 points available. That's until they are mathematically eliminated. I'm not counting Manchester United out, but man, they don't have the mentality this season. They get very thrown off very easily, and I mean, I want to talk about that more. I just don't have much more to say. I say they're my least favorite team to predict because they're so wildly inconsistent. I honestly don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's a dressing room issue. I don't know if it's I don't know. But Manchester United mentality, I think they'll be lucky to get Europa League. Next, I wanted to talk about Sheffield United. I've already talked about Arsenal, but Sheffield United, God, they're bad. There's just there are no other words. They're just bad. I think I heard. I don't know if it was the Irish guy who said this, but someone said that if you don't earn at least 20 points in a Premier League season, you should be banned from the Premier League for like 10 seasons because you just aren't Premier League quality. And obviously, I'm against that because promotion and relegation is based on merit, and that would fly in the face of that. But it's this team has me reconsidering my stance on that because the, it's just so bad. You basically tune in to watch to see how bad they're going to play, how much they're going to get battered, and I feel bad for their fans. I mean, this this isn't what they signed up for. In 2020, they were 4 wins away from Champions League. They finished top half. What happened? I don't know. It was just something, it was just a point that I wanted to bring up because I know that they've gotten more points than that Derby County team, but they have a minus 50 goal difference. I think that alone speaks for itself. Next point I wanted to talk about was Ollie Watkins is elite. I was watching the Villa Luton game, and one of the commentators said, "Oh, he's amongst the elite. He's second in goals and leading in assists." No, no, no. He's not amongst the elite. He is elite. He is second behind Erling Haaland in the Golden Boot race. Wish that Haaland wouldn't have scored because then he'd only be 1 goal back, but I digress. He's tied for the most assists, and he was the first one to 10 assists. He has the most goal contributions in the Premier League. That is elite. He scored 5 goals in 3 games. He is elite, and for me, he's my player of the season. If Foden wins it, I won't really be mad at it, just because Foden's also had a really good season, but for me, what pushes it for Ollie is Man City would be a Premier League title chasing and Champions League side without Foden. Villa would not be where they are without Ollie Watkins, and that is why he edges it for me. Finally, what I wanted to talk about is not really something that I necessarily took away from this game week, but just a season overall observation, and we're officially over 2/3 of the way through, so the dust has settled on, any sort of outliers, and I wanted to talk about Brighton because yes, they're in top half. Well, they topped their Europa League group. Amazing. They hadn't even qualified for Europe before. Topping your Europa League group, that's incredible. But I have to ask Brighton fans, is this league form that you're going through, is that okay? Are you okay with what's happening? Because I know that for Aston Villa fans, it was, if we finish top half and win the Europa Conference League after seeing how much West Ham struggled, that was what kind of Aston Villa fans were hoping for and expecting. But I'm just kind of curious from Brighton fans, after that 3-0 loss and Europa League starts on Thursday, is where you are in the league good enough? Are the performances good enough? Do you feel like, what is your expectations from the season? Let me know in the comments. I am very curious. Anyways, those are my big 6 things that I took away from this week. Let me know what you took away. Did I miss anything? I probably did. I only talked about 6 things. But who's your player of the season? That's a better idea. Who is your player of the season? Mine is Ollie Watkins. Phil Foden, do you have someone else in mind?